Hi, welcome to episode 23 of Soft Signal. Um, what a day! What a day for Indian cricket after the third test, where we thought this is the same old England series story for India. We've actually managed to win the fourth test pretty convincingly in the end, again, led primarily by our bowling effort. So, what is your initial reaction to the win, and how do you feel today?
Yeah, superb win, right? Because it does two things. We cannot lose the series, and it validates everything that we've said so far in in the previous episodes about the series that Shardul Thakur needs to play. So
Yeah, I was wanted to give that moment to you because you're the biggest advocate. So
yeah, we've been talking about Shardul Thakur and the importance of Shardul Thakur right from the first Test match. And here he is, end of Test match number 4. He's scored runs and taken wickets, and he's proved his worth once again. But yeah, superb day. I'm feeling great because we are now so close to actually winning a series in England. Um, and winning a 5 Test match series is a big deal.
yeah,
It's not like a 2 Test match series where you win one and then survive for a draw, or uh, or the other way around. So winning a 5 Test match series is a big deal because only the better team wins a 5 Test match series. You cannot be the worst team and lose it. So it's amazing. I mean, I'm feeling great. I mean, there's just one Test match to go. I hope we can hold on to this lead. To be honest.
hold on or even make it 3-1, and
Yeah.
it's uh, it's a great day, and we could have been 3-1 up even now if the first test last day had not been washed out. But
Exactly.
ifs and buts we can't say because we might have lost that also. But yeah, what a great team win this time. Um, we'll talk about it. And focus on Shardul, of course. But we might just mention him more than we ever mentioned him in this episode. So, starting with the team selection, of course, Shardul was brought in,
Yeah.
and it's easy to now say that we won, so it was perfect. But I'm just want to throw it out there. I personally feel that Ashwin should have still played this match. We won, that's all great, but I still think he could have played in place of who? In place of either Jadeja or in place of one of the fast bowlers. He could have played in place of Umesh Yadav or Siraj. But what do you think? Do you think they got that one wrong?
Yeah, in hindsight, of course, they got nothing wrong.
Yeah.
But this is a really tough one, and I think even in the preview of this Test match, we spoke about this. But Ashwin could have played, but then again, had Ashwin played for sure, he would have played in place of Shardul because I don't see him playing in place of Jadeja because Jadeja's
Mhm.
batting ensures that he remains in the team. um, then do they still think that Shardul Thakur can be the third seamer? Maybe not as yet. I don't think the team management has that much faith in Shardul Thakur just as yet, where he can be the third seamer. So therefore, the only way they could have got Ashwin in is by not playing Shardul. But then Ashwin's batting has improved this year, but it's not improved that much to sort of put him or have him as a regular number 7 or or even a number 8. I think Shardul has shown that he's a better batsman than Ashwin at this point in time. But it's a tough one. It's a real tough one because it plays around with the balance of the side. One thing is for sure that if Ashwin does come into the team for the last Test match, it's a big if. But if he does, it will not be for Shardul Thakur. It will be for one
Yeah.
of the 3 seamers. But at that stage, then you need to be confident that Shardul can play the role of third seamer.
Like I personally feel that Ashwin could have still played in place of Umesh. I don't think he could have replaced Shardul. Like it's not a the Shardul is a better batsman and you need that extra seamer. But yeah, they could have gone with Ume Bumrah, Siraj, Shardul, Ashwin Jadeja, because you have two spinners, and especially on this 50 pitch on with the flat wicket, when we could have they won. So it's difficult to say these
Yeah.
things because we did win, but it might have been a better selection, and that would also mean that we would have batted till number 9 because we'd have only had Siraj and Bumrah, right? Then who would have not
Yeah.
been able to bat? So that strengthens our batting as well. So I think there would have been a stronger case to play him, but either way, anyway, the captain didn't think so. So we went ahead with the team, replaced Ishant and Shami with Shardul and Umesh, which paid off in the end. So let's leave that aside. Again, we were put into bat in difficult conditions, actually the worst batting conditions of the entire match, and not the greatest performance. There were a couple of good partnerships. It was good to see Kohli get to 50, and then, but then of course our boy Shardul from 127 for 7. Some questionable shots by batsmen also like Pant. But yeah, it got us to 191, which was an okay score. 127 for 7 was looking dicey, but we managed to get to close to 200.
Yeah, I mean, it at least kept us in the game, because if you get rolled out for like 100 and 120 odd, then it just you just aren't in the game anymore, because the bowlers aren't able to pull you back because they're trying extra hard to get a wicket every ball, and that doesn't happen. And we saw that in the third test. So Shardul's runs down the order in the first innings were really important, because he took us to a position where the bowlers could bring you back, and they did. The lead was not too much, so you're not out of the game already. I think you touched upon a good point. It was good to see Kohli get runs, and the manner in which he got the runs is very encouraging. I do think that the big 100 is around the corner. I
Yeah,
think I think he looks very assured at the crease. He was just looking solid. He was just looking determined again. Um, so that was good to see. Also, credit to our openers. Actually, they played the first 30-40 minutes really well. They negotiated the opening burst of Anderson. um, I think it's just Wokes who came back in and then started getting the wickets for England. But I think both KL and Rohit have shown this series that they know what they're doing at the top of the order.
yeah,
And when you think of it, KL Rahul wasn't even supposed to start, and this is Rohit Sharma's second. No, it's Rohit Sharma's first series as opener in England. So I think
yeah.
both have come good and really proven that they are here to stay and here to contribute big time.
Yeah, this was surprising to see Jadeja at 5. I had
Yeah.
actually said he should be at 6, or they might consider him at 6. I didn't expect him to be at 5. Thing that paid off. Sometimes some people said it's because of the left hand right hand combination. I don't know if that's so important.
I don't know. For that, I guess you just need to be. You need to actually be the bowler who's bowling at that stage where they say that it makes a difference. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. In the end, it wasn't a great decision, I would say, because it
Yeah,
didn't really bring too much to the table, and Rahane still continued failing.
yeah,
So didn't really change anything, I guess. But worth a try in the end. You Unless you try, you don't know.
exactly.
So worth a try. I don't think that they would necessarily stick to that in the last test match. At the same time, I don't think that they would necessarily want to move away from that either. So it's just one of those things that they did. It didn't change anything. It didn't break anything. Neither did it fix anything. So we'll
Yeah,
see what happens. But kudos to Jadeja. Clearly, if he's batting at number 5, it means that the management is really impressed with his batting. Because a few years ago, he was batting at 8 or 9 even. So Jadeja's batting has definitely improved and come a long way, and that's actually what's ensuring that he's India's main spinner outside India. Because a few years ago it was not like that. Ashwin always got a game, but now it's Ashwin that's sitting overseas.
yeah. I don't know if they're impressed with his batting or they have just no confidence in the batsmen who actually bat at 5 and 6. So,
Yeah.
but either way, good for him. we were actually pretty good with the ball in the first innings. It was frustrating to like we got them at 62 for 5, and then they did have a couple of partnerships, but the wicket was so good to bat on day two. There were a couple of questionable shots from the English batsmen also, but to get them out just under a lead of 100 was a pretty commendable effort. And yeah, all the bowlers chipped in as well, especially Umesh Yadav. Actually, he got a key wicket of Root, and then yeah, one by one, all the bowlers did chip in through the innings.
Yeah, yeah. I think we have a strong bowling unit, and that it's just not about one or two bowlers who are good. I think the unit as a whole is really good and impressive. So that's always gonna be good for us because it keeps us in the game. Like you said, I mean, at the end of the day, we bowled them out for 291, and the lead was 100 only because our batsmen didn't get so many runs. So, but on any day, bowling an opposition out for 291 in the first innings of a Test match or the second innings in this case, because we batted first, is a good performance. So I think kudos to the bowlers. They kept us in the game. I think a lead of 150 and above would have really made it hard. Uh, but I think by restricting the lead to 96, they still ensured that we are in the game, which meant that if we batted well in the third innings, we could still entertain thoughts of a win, and that's exactly what happened. Um, but you're right; it's good that Umesh came in and did a good job. Also, one other plus point is that Shami was rested in this game, so I guess when he comes back for the fifth Test match, it'll be good because he'll be completely fresh and ready to
Yeah,
go.
yeah, I think I agree with that, and I think day two was actually the most important day for us if you look back in shaping this win because England could have got it. The conditions were perfect. They could have got a lead of 150 plus, like you said. And then after getting them out, we had like a tricky period to negotiate to the end of the day. And Rohit did get like I don't know if it's dropped where Burns just turned the other way
Yeah,
as if he's allergic to the ball. But they survived that without losing a wicket. And that was crucial because they could have actually lost two or three wickets in that last tricky period. I think it was overcast. Oh no, maybe it wasn't overcast, but yeah, we've traditionally not been so good at negotiating that time. So to end the day only 56 runs behind with all 10 wickets in hand was a perfect launch pad for day three.
yeah,
Where, yeah, again, it was good batting conditions, but nothing you can't take away anything from Rohit Sharma with his first overseas test 100, which I don't think bothered him too much, but everyone was talking about it. And Pujara also played really well and got 250 runs, I think, that day and lost just three wickets. I don't think we've had such a good batting day in the series since the first day at Lords.
yeah, yeah. It's finally good to see Rohit getting those hundreds in Test match cricket, and that too overseas. You're right. I think he's reached a stage in his career where he doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. But you probably still feel he can do more in Test match cricket, only because he's not done it earlier. And I think he's beginning to cash in and do exactly that now. So good to see him get runs. It also means that India has one opening spot, maybe even two, with KL Rahul, but opening spots nailed down for
Yeah.
when they travel to South Africa, which is the next overseas tour. So yeah, excellent to see Rohit do well. Excellent to see Pujara also coming back into some sort of form. Um, I think the thing that is turning around for Pujara is that he's not simply coming to the crease and just looking to block and survive. He's actually looking to score as well. Because you need to do that in English conditions. Otherwise, you'll block and you'll get a ball that swings away, takes the edge, and that's that.
Yeah.
So you need to make the most of your time at the crease, and Pujara is doing that, and he's reaping the benefits. Um, also Kohli once again looked very assured in that second innings, which is why I think the big one for him is just around the corner. I think it's a matter of time. But maybe you want to speak about Rahane.
What's there to speak? He's 8 balls. He got out twice. He was given out twice. First one was overturned. It was the flattest of pitches. Even Umesh and Bumrah were batting and got 20 odd. Like, and he got a duck. Like, Nothing to say really. It's just a batsman who's so low on confidence,
Yeah,
so out of form, and I don't know his personality. We don't know these people personally, but it seems like he's someone who's just taking his place for granted in the team also. Like there's this post he posted on Instagram which I sent you.
yeah,
Like this the stupid post after he scored. There's the only score of the series in the second test. Like my reaction when the trolls get trolled. Like it's kind of doesn't come across really comes off very arrogant, which I didn't associate with a player like him actually. So I don't know. He's just any other team. I think this no one would be given such a long rope. He's played 75 tests. Out of that 50 tests, he's got an average of 32 or 33. His overall career average has dropped below 40. One of the most unfulfilled careers of Indian cricket, especially after the way it started.
yeah, yeah. There was a time when Rahane was like the go-to batsman overseas.
Yeah,
Like even Virat Kohli was not. So clearly in the last years, actually, so you can't even say it's the last couple of series, right?
it's like
It's
since
happening for a long time.
2016 or something,
Yeah, yeah.
2017.
So the last 5 years, then he's just unfulfilled all that promise, and also unfulfilled it in a big way. I mean, you cannot score 100 and then have 10 innings of low scores, because that's what's happening with him. And you
Yeah,
cannot simply say that Rahane is the guy who scores in tough situations when it's needed.
he's
No, I
not.
mean
He
that is not
doesn't.
true, and he doesn't either, right? He doesn't do that either. So I think this is really a this could well be like a turning point in his career, meaning but turning in the wrong direction.
Turning, he will go back home, and that's the
Yeah, exactly. So he really needs to, I don't know, but he probably might play the next test match, but he needs to make it count, because come the South Africa series, which is India's next away tour, um, there will be question marks over his place, and he probably is already feeling the pressure. But if he gets a chance in the last Test match at Old Trafford, he really needs to make it count, or else it could well be his last Test match, at least for some time.
I don't know about that. Also, I don't want to spend too much time on this topic because we'll cover it in the preview for next test. But so what? Even if he scores 70 or 80 or even 100 in the last test, one good innings in a five-test series is not good enough from your number five. And it's not like this has just been like the only bad series, right? Even in the Australia series, he scored the one innings at MCG and that century. In the South Africa series in 2017, he played only one test, so let's not count that. But in every test series, he manages to play one decent innings, which you cannot expect from someone who's your number five who's played 75 tests. There are players who will perform better. So I don't know if he like part of me doesn't want him to play that last test because of this thing that if he plays that one innings, then he'll then get another rope for another 5, 6 test matches. So we'll see how they go. And some people say you can't drop him because he's the vice captain. Vice captain is just a figurehead title. He's not the captain. You can make anyone the vice captain. It doesn't really matter. So these are just excuses. But the batting coach Vikram Rathore actually yesterday said that his form is not a cause of concern. So I don't know what would make it a cause of concern. If 109 runs in 7 innings is not concerning, then I don't know what is.
So I think it's a problem right now. It for sure is a concern.
But
I think his statements were just to show that the team is
United,
backing
yeah,
Rahane, which they probably are, but that doesn't mean it's not a concern.
yeah. But so yeah, that's that about Rahane. Very I feel very strongly about this because I don't believe that he deserves to be in the team with at this current level of form. But yeah, the rest of the batsmen played really well. It was good to see Pant getting back into form. I think he had the pitch was better, so he had some more time to trust his defense and he was batting better, more assured. And again, Shardul with 60 this time, right? So, and
Yeah,
that 100-run partnership was crucial because Kohli got out when it was 213-run lead. So, yeah, they had folded within the next 30, 40 runs. 250 might not have been enough on the last day.
yeah, absolutely, super crucial. I think that is what broke the spirit of England, because and it's something that's kind of in my mind, because I've been watching the Sky Sports telecast of the game, and for some reason, the guys, the experts in England, keep saying uh, India's tail starts from number 8. I agreed with that for the previous Test match. I don't agree with that for this Test match because really Shardul Thakur is no mug with the bat.
Yeah.
Like we've seen him bat in Australia, we've seen him bat in a couple of one-day games in India as well. He's not a mug with the bat. He can bat, and and I think the English media and maybe even the English players just thought that here is a guy who's going to be as bad as Ishan Sharma batting at number 8. So probably when they saw India's number 8 in this game, which is Shardul Thakur, walk in, they were like, okay, we're almost there. And when that did happen, it broke their spirit even more. So therefore, that partnership between him and Rishabh Pant at that stage was absolutely like important. It broke the back of or the spirit of the English bowlers. Um, and I think that was the telling partnership in the end. It basically took India to a point where they couldn't lose the test match. At worst, it could have been a draw, but yeah, it was another superb contribution from Shardul.
I don't know about that, man. I know you were more confident than me, or maybe I was just too pessimistic. But I actually thought we couldn't lose. But when England was 77 for no loss, 290 runs on 90 overs in the last day, I thought they had a shot, especially because they have some. Like if the first four batsmen had laid some sort of foundation, if they needed 120 runs in 30 overs, Moeen Bairstow with an against tired attack could have done it. But it didn't. Nothing didn't even come close to that
Yeah,
because our bowlers were just tremendous, and especially Bumrah. Only 2 wickets. So if someone looks at the stats later, 5 years later, and sees this match, there were only 2 wickets. But of course, we know it was much more than that. The spell that just changed the match completely, especially his ball to get Ollie Pope to get to his 100th wicket as well. Like, yeah, just killed any hope of an England, any minor hope of an England win, and yeah, just made the draw was the only chance at that time. But yeah, just a brilliant performance, right?
yeah, what a bowler! I mean, here is a guy who takes wickets, bowls at 90 miles an hour, or in the high 80s, um, bowls a lot of overs, and doesn't concede runs. I mean, 22 overs, 27 runs it was, and 2 wickets. It's
Insane.
amazing. I mean, he's a complete package, and it's not like he's relying only on one skill. That is, it's not like he's relying only on an outswinger and in swinger. He's got the outswinger, he's got the in swinger, he's got the one that goes straight through, he's got a bouncer, he's got a slow ball, he's got an amazing Yorker. So this guy is like he's so skillful, and he's an Indian
Yeah.
fast bowler. So
And he's a smart bowler also. He doesn't
smart
just
bowler,
bowl.
yeah.
He
He
thinks
thinks
a
about
batsman
it.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. So for India to produce something like this would have been unheard of 10 years ago, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we produce batsmen, Pakistan produces bowlers. That this is the template, or this was the template.
Yeah.
Now, with the emergence of Bumrah and the other guys, it 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 is like India is producing fast bowlers and good ones. So so really, I mean, what a bowler! Amazing spell, those 6 overs that he bowled in which he got those 2 wickets. That delivery to get Ollie Pope and Johnny Bairstow, amazing deliveries. I think any batsman would have gotten out uh, to those deliveries. A few overs later, he produced a similar Yorker to Joe Root, who barely managed to keep it out. So amazing performance once again
Yeah.
from Bumrah. Well supported by Jadeja, I would say. He didn't get too many wickets, but he kept the runs down. Bowled accurately in the rough. That's what he's always done throughout his career, right? He's bowled accurately into areas where the pitch would help him. He did that again. But again, a mention to that man, Shardul Thakur, this time with the ball. Um, he took the first wicket. So England's 100-run opening stand, Shardul Thakur was the man to dismiss Rory Burns and bring India back. And then he got the all-important wicket of Joe Root as well.
Yeah.
So what a player!
What a
This
player! What a what Lord Shardul.
Lord
That's all.
Shardul, yeah, that's trending
Shardul
these
Kar.
days.
There's so many. Yeah, the first wicket was really good actually because that partnership, if it had carried on for some, like I said, right, if they had set a stronger platform, they might have been encouraged to go for it.
Yeah,
yeah, that first wicket was really crucial, and of course, Root. Even though I think it was a lucky wicket to get, but the wicket is a wicket, right? And yeah, and then the end was also just great, like with Anderson rushing, desperately trying not to get on strike. It was
Yeah,
just hilarious to watch in
he
the
was
end.
terrified.
Yeah, like it's kind of sad to see someone who's like played so many tests try to run away from. And Ollie Robinson has played 6 tests or 7 tests or whatever. Like he should
Yeah,
have been more. I don't think they could have saved the match anyway because there were 30 overs to go. But yeah, you expect a bit more courage and maturity from someone who's played so much.
yeah, exactly. And just talking about James Anderson a bit there, of course, super bowler, amazing record, and all of that. But it was highlighted during this Test match that his average in the second innings uh, is like in the high 60s.
Wow,
So yeah, so
that's
so
very
when
surprising.
so when Jimmy Anderson is bowling in, like if it's the third or fourth innings of the Test match, he's not picking up wickets. He's averaging 60.
Is this a
So
career average or just recently or
this is the
something?
last 15 Test matches. So it's
Okay.
not a career average, but it's still a big enough
Yeah,
sample,
yeah, it is. Yeah,
which basically points to the fact that he might be getting tired. I mean, he's 39,
yeah.
right? So the funny thing is that in the first innings of the last 15 Test matches, he averages 17, but in the second innings of those same last 15 Test matches, he averages 60 of in the 50s or 60s.
Wow.
So clearly, he's unable to sustain the workload of a test
Yeah.
match throughout the match, and now that could be a concern going into the next test match. But we'll talk about that, of course, in the preview for the next test match. But I think Jimmy Anderson, the batter, is quite petrified or terrified of Bumrah for the moment. And yeah, there
It's
was
funny.
he faced two balls of Bumrah, I think. Uh, Fortunately for him, he didn't have to face any more.
Yeah, funny to see. But yeah, just a brilliant victory, right? And another remarkable thing about this win is, and just want to address it, is that it came after 78 all out in the last test, after a uh, total humiliating defeat of more of an innings. And we've actually seen this happen. We came back from 36 all out to win that next test match. To a lesser extent, we lost the first test in India against England and came back to win this next 3 matches. And now again, we've come back, which is just speaks. Uh, this is what sets apart good teams from the best, right? Like these good teams would be like in the past, even Indian teams which are good, they lose one test and then they just carry that momentum forward and just lose the rest of the series. Here, this team is like, okay, bad performances happen. There was one bad performance, but every match is different, and they actually lived up to that.
Yeah, excellent comeback. I mean, it takes something to come back in these series, especially when they are away series.
Yeah,
Uh, and also, another important thing here is that uh, now that now that the test match is done and dusted, we tend to forget that we got out for 191 in the first innings,
yeah,
which is not a big score on any surface, good or bad surface. So we were trailing by 100 or 96, so almost 100, and still we overturned that deficit and defeated England by
yeah.
130 odd runs in
160
this.
runs or so, yeah, something like that.
Exactly. So it's a huge turnaround when you look at it from that sense. So um, it's amazing. The guys are fighting during the test match. They're fighting across the series, and I think they deserve to win this series now.
Yeah,
So we cannot lose it, which is great. But I think they can make this 3-1, because what they've also done is that they've beaten England's best possible side. Right? They've got Vokes in that side. They've got Overton, Anderson, Robinson, Moeen Ali. That's the best possible side that England can put out on the field,
yeah,
given all the injuries. I mean, okay, fine. I know that Broad and Archer would probably have played this series had they been fit, but they're not fit. So, given all the injuries and the best team that England can put out, I think India's beaten them. So, no reason why they shouldn't, uh, you know, uh, keep have thoughts of going 3-1 up in the series at the end.
yeah. Let's hope for that. Last point. Rohit Sharma was the man of the match. I totally disagree with that. It has to be Shardul.
Has to
Like,
be. Has to be.
I mean, there was no. Yeah, he played, got a century in the second innings, but yeah, like Shardul contributed with bat and ball across the whole match. I don't know
Yeah,
how they selected that.
yeah, and important runs. He kept
Yeah,
India in the game in the first match. He ensured India doesn't lose the game in the sorry. He kept India in the game in the first innings. He
yeah,
ensured India will not lose the game in the second innings. He picked up wickets across both innings. In the second innings, he's picked up important wickets. I agree. My man of the match was Shardul Thakur, but yeah, I don't think they consider our opinion. But I'm sure Shardul Thakur
if only.
was my man of the match. Yeah,
Shardul, if you are watching, you are our man of the match, so don't worry. Uh, but uh, we live in hope.
yeah,
But
yeah, exactly.
we'll enjoy this win. The next test match is just 3 days, 4 days from now. Quick turnaround, and we'll be back in a couple of days to cover. Look forward to the final test. It's been a long series, so thank you for sticking with us through all these episodes. And if you like what you see, please do like and subscribe as